Welcome back to Legacy Builders. Welcome back to our mindset series. We're glad you all are joining us.
Yeah, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. I think we're going to touch on a few other important concepts on mindsets that's going to be really helpful for you today. So we appreciate you guys joining us. Appreciate you spreading the word, all your social media shares and likes out there, and subscribing to our podcast. We really appreciate all that.
So we're going to kind of dive in to where we stopped and left off last time, which is how to change a mindset. And so we kind of started talking a little bit about it. But this episode, we're really going to dive deep and just talk all about changing mindset and what might be stopping you from really changing it, or just anything that could get in the way.
Yeah, so just a couple maybe touching on refreshers from maybe the last episode or two. And just maybe I didn't mention this in the other ones. I just thinking about this, that I just wanted to make sure that we're not professionals. We're not psychologists. We're not therapists. We're not experts in experts on how the mind works. We're not experts on a lot of stuff. All we can do is speak from our own experiences and share from the people in the situations that we've learned from, and reading books on how to do these things, and actually applying the things that we've learned. So we're not just bringing you information, we're bringing you actually the real life examples of things that that I personally, and Madison has personally made changes in those mindsets, or in these things. So just wanted to just kind of make sure that, sometimes we got to give little disclaimers. We're not saying that we're experts. We don't have PhDs. I just have real life experience, and I can just share with you what's worked for me, and hopefully that's helpful. And so, just to refresh, we're talking about mindsets, and it's a very unique topic. We chose to start the year off with this because not many people really talk about mindset. It's really a weird topic, but it's the most, in my opinion, it's one of the most prominent, the most important issues that hinder success. It hinders people from going to the next level. It hinders people from, why can't you, why is it that you may change a routine only to get these, the definition of insanity is you repeat the same things over and over, expecting different results. Well, some people don't just repeat things over and over. They try different things over and over to get the same results. And they're like, oh, well, this didn't work, so I'm going to try this and see if this works, and try another thing and it doesn't work. I kind of liken it, I have a visual of a point on the mountain. Everybody's climbing a life journey, and they hit this point on a mountain. And you'll know what this point is for you, because you hit this point, you're trying to get past this point on the mountain, and just it's not working. So your only solution, you think, is, oh, that mountain, I can get past this point if I go to the other mountain. Mm-hmm. So you back down and you go and start a new business. You go and start a new weight loss program. You go start a new whatever it is. This team didn't work. I'm gonna go try out for this other team. This marriage didn't work. I'm going to go try another marriage. These friends, I'm just not clicking with these friends. I'm going to go develop new friends. Well, now you got this another mountain that you've climbed up, and you hit the same point with these other people, with this other relationship, with this other business, with this other thing that you're trying, whatever it is, that you just can't seem to, you hit the same point on this mountain. So now we're going to address, what is this point that you're hitting on the mountain? Why do you keep hitting that same point on the mountain? That's what we're trying to address. That's this mindset that we keep talking about. The reason you don't get beyond it is because it's stuck here. Once this gets changed and you internalize it and you learn this stuff, you can get past that point on the mountain, and it changes every mountain. It'll change every relationship that you're in. It changes everything.
So when you say that, like, are you talking about how there's one mindset shift you have to make to get past that point? Or is there different mindsets along the way in different areas of your life?
Yeah, so the mindsets are all different. If you're in sports or something, you can't get past this certain this certain mental block, this certain thing. Well, that's going to be a different mindset change than if you're trying to lose weight, or if you're trying to build a business and you keep hitting the same roadblock in business. There's these mindsets. I mean, just by definition, the mindset, it's a set of habits. It's even the word itself, mindset. These things are set in your mind that you didn't create them. You have adopted them growing up. You've adopted them along the way. Someone along the way planted these sets of minds, these ways of thinking in your head on how to do things, on how relationships work, on how money works, on how business works, on school, whatever profession, whatever you're in, you have learned these concepts along the way. There's, husband and wife relationships. I mean, who do we learn best about husband and wife relationships from? Our own parents. Yeah, we see things from other people, but most of the time, you'll hear this over and over. Most of the time, a woman will go and she'll marry somebody more like her dad. The man will go and he'll marry someone more like his mom. It's weird. It's a weird dynamic, but that's a lot of times what happens. And it's because it's just grained in your head. I mean, so many people go down the same career path, money path, religious path. I mean, all these different paths were set in your mind growing up that you continue to carry with you. And so we are like, hey, along the way, you might be tired of hitting this roadblock.
Well, quick question. I'm going to stop you real quick to back up and talk about how some of those mindsets can serve you in a season. They're not all bad. Right.
Yeah, correct. So we're not saying anything's bad. All right. I mean, good and bad is your own. It's up to you to decide what's good or bad. We're not saying that if you have this mindset, that's a bad mindset and this other one's a good mindset. We're just simply saying that you have a mindset.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It's not good or bad. I'm just saying if you want to change something in your life, we have to change something in our life. And I mean, Paul said this in the Bible. Paul said, now all we have to do is renew our minds. The only thing left is to renew our minds. Well, it's not such an easy task to just change your mind. And so is he saying that our minds were bad? Not necessarily, but it's just the process of going from one mindset to now another mindset. It's just not a common practice. It's not a common teaching. Some people stumble along the way and they motivate themselves. Sometimes motivation is a precursor to mindset. How many people do you know who all of a sudden they planned on working out their whole life, and all of a sudden they had great ambition, great thoughts and they had great intentions to work out, right? Oh yeah, I'm going to work out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Then all of a sudden they go to their annual checkup. The doctor says, if you don't start working out, you're going to die. You need to start walking every day. You have this or you have that. You need to start walking. Wow. All of a sudden that mindset just changed and they just started walking. The thing that they were told to do their whole life, to keep in shape and to do these things, all of a sudden, now death is now the motivator to change that mindset, to now motivate them to go out and do the thing that was hindering them from accomplishing or doing their whole life. And yeah, you have a thought?
Yeah. Well, so I was going to back up too. And so I asked the question about how if it's different mindsets on each mountain, and you said yes, but we've talked about how the process is the same though. That once you break one mindset pattern, the process becomes the same for each mindset, that you have to change that as you're going up a mountain and breaking that barrier. So let's start talking about the process and just what that looks like. Yeah, let's go there.
All right. So the process all boils down, and this is so crazy because me and Madison will talk about this all the time. And I said, look, it just boils down to a decision. You just got to make a decision. And she's like, it can't be that simple. It can't be that easy, but it is that simple. It is that easy. First happens the decision. Now, next episode, we're gonna talk about another. I'm not going to get into this component on this episode, but we're going to save this. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but we're gonna save it for the next episode. because that's going to be one whole episode just on that one topic. But it does start with a decision. And once you make a decision, that sets in motion the action that comes behind that decision. Now, the process to go from making that decision to making that change in your mindset does take a little bit of a process, but it starts off very simply with one decision. You just decide. I mean, you just draw a line and you're like, I am stepping over this line and I'm not going back. I don't know what's beyond this line. I know what I want it to be, and I'm just making a decision. I am not going back there anymore. You just made a decision. Are you there where you want to go? No. You just decided you're not going that way. I'm not going back anymore. I've had enough. I'm done. And you make a decision right then and there. Some people, they'll even make it. I mean, here's a mindset change. All of a sudden, smoking is bad for you. And all of a sudden, there's this epiphany that happens. And people can take this cigarette, crush them up. I'm not smoking anymore. And now they're a life free of smoking. From one to that mindset just changed instantaneously. It didn't take a process. There's some people I can just be like, nope, I'm done. It's over. And they move on.
So where I struggle with that is because you said like that is some people's story. But what about the people who, they decide and then, I mean, there's the voices in their head back and forth and back and forth. Like, I mean, from all those habits of like, oh, what if you just smoke one more? Like, and we stop then. And then what if we just get us through the day or something like that? All the voices they're battling and stuff like that, and the habits that have been set in place for years and years. What happens if they fall off track? What if they do smoke one? Like, what do you have to say to that? Like, I mean,
well, that's what every person has to internalize. That does it mean that you might not slip up? But I'm just saying, when you do make a decision, the decision's over. If something happens, you can get caught up in the guilt of something. You can get caught up in the, oh, I messed up and I did go back. Well, then just stop, make another decision, and just keep moving forward. Yeah. And so, but that's what we're going to talk about, though, this process, because those are real emotions. Those are real issues. Those are real things that get caught in the process as you're starting to move forward. And so we'll talk about that and as we talk about, really making that change. There's there's different, depending on what books you read, depending on who you listen to. Some people say it takes anywhere between 21 and 30 days to change a habit. A lot of the stuff that we're dealing with is habitual. And that's where you're talking about that emotion, that voice. Oh, just one more. That's your habit. That's your routine coming into play. That's the emotional draw of this routine. It's the unknown. You don't know where you're going, and that's one big reason why people fail, is because you can make a decision, I'm not going back, but you never recalibrate. We talked about this last episode. You never recalibrate where you're going. If you know where you're going and you focus on where you're going, then you don't have time to look back. You don't have time to worry about, oh, just try one more. You're like, what? Who is that? I don't even know who you are. I don't know what you're saying. Because all I'm listening to now are the voices that are telling me how to get up there. So all of a sudden we use this with the GPS, right? So you type in the GPS and you're driving down the road. You say, I want to go to New York. And you're driving to New York. And it says, turn left. Okay, you're turning left. You don't hear the voice that keeps telling you, hey, you're going to Florida. We talked about, let's say you're going to Florida, and then all of a sudden you change your destination to go to New York, for example. And all of a sudden you're driving to Florida, and it says, no, turn to New York. It keeps telling you to go the other way. But if you don't have a new destination in place, it's always going to keep telling you to go back where you were. It's going to keep telling you to go where you don't want to go because you don't have a new destination. There's so many other words or phrases. Get a dream, have a vision, have a goal. What's your motivation? There's vision boards. All of these things which are important, and those are also things that help you along the process to make those changes permanent, because you can make a permanent change. I mean, there's things, and it's so weird because I can't even remember some of the changes that I've made. I cannot even remember the emotion and that's attached to those decisions from my past. I just decided to go a different route, and I did. And it's really awkward that I can't even give an example because I've chosen to forget certain things, and I just forget them and I move on. So
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the visualization and planning and stuff like that. So when you're planning, is it important to get as specific as possible with that destination? Like, what would you say?
so now think about this. So again, the word mindset. Okay, your mind is set because you have replayed your past over and over and over and over and over again. That's all you think about. That's all you're continuing to do. Your past is now your today, and you just relive your past every day. So if you want to change some things in your life, you have to change some things in your life. You need to now see yourself where you want to be. You have to start visualizing this. You have to start playing in your mind your future self. I have a construction business, all right, and I sit here and before I even started my construction business, I would walk properties and I would see myself building houses. I didn't even have my builder license yet, but I would see myself building houses. I would see myself managing multiple houses. I'd see myself with the subdivision. I started seeing myself down. I mean, I see myself owning apartment complexes. I don't own them yet. I'm visualizing that every day. I'm like, oh, that's going to be my apartment complex. I'm making, and this isn't just a wish. This isn't just hopeful. I mean, this is progress. I mean, now I've built many houses. We're getting ready to start our own my first subdivision. Getting ready to start that. I've got other projects in the works. I don't really want to talk about right now, but because I've been visualizing them, now they're coming into manifestation.
Right.
I'm not sitting here thinking about the remodel jobs that I hated in the past and the stuff that I don't like doing. And over I'm thinking about those. And then since I don't have a different path for my life, I keep doing remodel jobs, for example. Not that I hated all my remodel jobs, but it's just, if all I think about is where I'm at right now, this is all you're going to continue to do. You have to start thinking about where you want to be and start making that your reality.
Well, I think something too that you really just pointed out is that like it hasn't happened yet. Like that is the progress. That is the thing that takes time. Like I know sometimes for me, I'm like, if I've made a decision, like I want to see it happen now or like within a month or like I want to see results. But like that's not the reality is you don't see results within a month always or 2 months or anything like that. And so
all right, so I'm going to help you all out. This is going to be probably one of the most important episodes. If you're listening to this is probably be one of the most important episodes you've ever listened to. And it's going to address that very thing. And I'm going to give you a real life example of what we're doing right now. All right. My wife and I, we decided we're going to build another house. Okay. We made a decision to build another house. Okay. Now, did we start breaking ground tomorrow on the house?
No.
We did not. Did we see results yet? No. But what we started to do is we started looking at blueprints. We started looking at floor plans. We looked at floor plans. We finally honed in on some floor plans. Hey, we like this. We want this. We're tweaking this, tweaking that. Even Madison's getting in on the designs now. Did we even break ground yet? You know, we're going through this right now, Madison, real life example.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
We're going through. So now we have a floor plan in place now. We settled in on a floor plan. Madison's even got some design ideas for this house that we haven't even dug a shovel in the ground yet. So now when we started this, we found a piece of property that we liked. So we've been working on acquiring this property. It took about 5 months. We finally closed on a piece of property. Progress. Now we have a set of blueprints. Now we have the land that we're going to build this house on. The land still needs to be divided up. I have some improvements that I have to do on the land before I can get a permit to build the house. All right. But now I have a set of blueprints. You know what I have? You know what blueprints are?
A plan.
What more specifically than a plan?
A vision.
A vision, even more specifically than a vision.
All right. What's the word?
It's the end. I already see the end of this project before I ever start my project.
Yeah.
If you don't see the end of your whatever you're changing, see yourself at the end of this, then you backtrack and you start going through the process.
Yeah.
We have a set of blueprints. So now when I go dig a footer in the ground, you're never going to see the footer.
Well, that's so good too, because even on my side of things, like I do all the designs and stuff before, I mean, the build really even starts.
Yeah.
And so, but like I'm thinking about this and the fact that, so that way when things start to happen and the cabinet vendors and all the different vendors start asking me questions, I already know the answer. I already know what cabinet color. I already know the hardware. I already know the lighting. Like I already know all this stuff.
Well, if they say, well, you pick out black fixtures, they say, well, you want chrome fixtures, right?
I'd be like, no, I picked black. That's what's in the plan.
Your mind is already set.
That's good.
On that design, right?
Yeah.
It's already set. And you know what?
The decision's already been made.
The decision's already been made. So no matter what anybody except for the builder sometimes messes up the design and has to come back and say, Madison, I messed up this. Can we?
It always
So yeah, sometimes I mess up the plan and we have to regroup on a minor detail. But for the most part, the plan is set, the designs are set. So no matter what anybody says along the way, even we get to a point where we have a pre-sale and the homeowner says, can I change this? We say, nope, not change. We are past the point of change.
Yeah.
Not going to change it.
Well, but I mean, too, with what you just mentioned with tweaks or mess ups or things, like there is going to be some revisions that you have to make within your mindset.
Correct.
Along the way. And so I think that's important to mention, especially with this example that's just lined up so great.
Yeah. Like I said, when you can visualize this process, and if you just study the process of building, I mean, we have to still work out how to get power to that. Well, actually, the power is already set. Water's already set. But in the process, we have to get water. We have to get electrical.
I mean, there's a lot of things you got to figure out.
There's a lot of things I got to figure out along the way. But the house is already built. Like we already know, we have the plans.
Right.
The plans and the blueprint is already laid out. We know the end from the beginning. See?
So now let me ask you this, because something, I mean, I can tend to struggle with too, even just like within mindsets, is staying in the planning phase for too long instead of creating that action,
right,
or anything like that. So what do you have to say to maybe people who are like me, who love to plan and maybe get too caught up in that planning phase?
Well, we addressed this on the last issue. I mean, it's the problem behind the problem. We talk about that all the time. If you've heard our other episodes, I mean, we have the problem is never the problem. So we have to see what's the real problem going on. Why is there procrastination? We boiled it down to most of the time. I don't have a statistic, but if I had to throw out a statistic, probably 90 to 95% of the time, it's fear. It's it. It's fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of what people are going to say, fear of rejection, whatever the fear is, 90 to 95% of the time, I'm willing to bet the answer is fear. And so we addressed that in the last episode. But I want to, well, since we are kind of talking about that, let's I was going to tangent and go back to something, but this segues right into the thought that I had. Okay, so when we make this change, we see the end from the beginning. What do we call this process of going from seeing nothing to seeing something? We call this faith. Believing that which you cannot see will come to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the definition of fear? Believing that which you cannot see will come to pass. Do you see fear? Do you see the negative? Has the negative happened?
No.
But then why do we believe the negative? We believe something that has not happened, yet we won't believe something that has not happened. Well, why? Why do we believe the negative and the fear portion of it, and we don't believe what we can be?
Is it because in our world today, like that is the stronger pole of emotion? Or I mean, if you look around, like the news, that's all they're putting out there is fear. And social media, fear and comparison, fear that you're not enough, like things like that. I mean, what would you say?
I mean, ultimately, we talked about this in the last example. Who's the most powerful voice in our life?
You.
You. What do you say?
Yeah.
It all boils down to you. What do you say? Is what all of these other people have to. Who are all these other people? Who are they anyway? That they control your life, that they would control my life. Who are they? Are they going to pay my mortgage? Are they going to raise my kids? Well, if I don't instill some belief into my kids, they will. If I don't have a plan for my life, they do. It all boils down to me. I have to make a choice, a decision to get a plan for my life and to start activating that plan. If you don't have a plan for your life, people don't fail to plan. They plan to fail. They don't plan to fail. Yeah, that's it. They don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. So when we don't plan for our life, other people do. So we just get caught up in listening to what all these, we can compare and contrast all we want, but what are we doing? We're the ones comparing. All these other people, they're not comparing to you. They're not comparing to me.
Mm-hmm.
They're caught up in they also, what everybody else is saying, what everybody else is doing. Just when you have a blueprint and you see yourself where you want to go, this happens. La la la, I can't hear you. Can't hear you. What'd you say? Oh, what was that you said? Oh, thank you very much. But no, thank you. Not going to listen. Why? Because I'm keeping those fixtures black. I already chose to keep the fixtures black. We're not changing them to chrome. The plan's already set, baby.
Yeah.
The plan is already set. The decision has already been made. Not going back. We just have to get a plan. We have to take time out of our life and set up a plan for our life. Even if you don't know exactly what it is, a plan is better than no plan. No plan means you're listening to they.
Mm-hmm.
A plan means you have some structure and you're going somewhere. You're doing something. So they drowned out. Does that make sense? So we start having a plan for our life. Who dictates if you're in let's say you're in a workout program? Who dictates how much weight you're supposed to lose? Who cares?
Just you.
Just you.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden we go and we work out and we don't see nothing, or going and working out and I don't see those muscles ripped. Then all of a sudden, who's the one that really cares?
You.
Me. So if I'm like, oh, that felt good, I'm just going to do it again. You just keep doing little things. You keep doing little things. Before you know it, little things turn into big things.
Yeah.
It's just creating the habit. But the difference between the fear and the faith is, it's the same emotion. It's the same pressure. We don't know what this looks like because this comfort zone has been created, that every time we bump into this comfort zone, we bump into this pressure of life, it's so uncomfortable to do this because nobody else is doing this. And then all of a sudden we think, oh, that must be bad. That's why everybody's in this box together. No, get out of the box. Go do something else. You'll be more free. Don't sit in the whole box with they. Go do something else.
But that is a very real emotion that you have to overcome. And so what are some examples of overcoming the fear of they, or the fear of being different than the rest? It might look like a lonely road. So how do you overcome those things?
It's amazing when you start down that journey, you start finding other people in the same boat. And you're like, oh, you're going through the same thing I'm going through. It's lonely up here, isn't it? It is. Well, we're not alone anymore. We can at least talk to each other about this road that we're on. At least we're not with them, they. So you'd ask, how do you overcome that emotion? How do you overcome that whatever you're dealing with? Do it anyway. You just do it. Because then what you find out is, that wasn't so bad. So I had a fear of public speaking. And in being up in front of people. So you want to know what I did to overcome that fear? I chose to, whenever we would go to a wedding, I would go up and I would sing karaoke. And I can't sing. Ask Madison.
I mean, you're not.
I mean, I'm not that bad, but I'm also not that great. But the whole point was there was karaoke, and I was afraid to do it. And I was like, I'm going to do it anyway because I don't care. I just got to get to the point where I don't care what other people say. I have to be able to feel that pain, feel that pressure. I use social media, to be honest with you. I will go out and I will post, I will engage in a controversial subject just so people will call me names. And I'll be like, oh, that's what that felt like. Okay, that wasn't so bad. Oh, yeah, ha ha, funny. Yeah. Is that your routine comment? Is that your routine reply that you always say to? And then I just but to feel that pain, to feel that hit and be like, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't as bad as I thought. Every time you have this mental block and you actually go out and do the thing you're afraid of, even if it's on a small scale or a little thing, every time you'll come back and be like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought. That didn't take as long as I thought. But in your mind, you've replayed it over and over, this worst case scenario, and you built up this frenzy of emotion over the worst case scenario that you played out in your mind. The fear, why didn't you play out in your mind how great it was going to be? Oh, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to knock it out of the park. Everybody's going to love me. They're going to want my autograph afterwards. How come that didn't play over and over in our mind? We have the choice. That's all I'm trying to explain to you right now. You have the choice to create a new mindset. How do you create a new mindset? I told you last episode, write down your negatives. Yeah. If you have these anxieties and these negatives, we're going to turn them into positives. How you turn them into positive? You start replaying the opposite and you start thinking about it. You start speaking about it, write about it, read it to yourself. Third person, first person, tell yourself all of these things. You're a winner. You can do it. Everybody's going to love you. You're a leader. People follow you all over the place. I love being up in front of people. I'm not afraid to be up in front of people. Do I get a little anxiety or a little nervous? Sure, that's natural emotion. But that is not fear. The little emotion, that's not the fear. It's just an anxiety. You just do it anyway. Don't let those little things stop you. Then once that little bit of fear comes in, then I get up there and it's just the habit. It's normal human nature, human emotion to have a little bit of fear when you do things. Fine, letting fear stop me, no way.
So you actually going back to you wrote a script for yourself, for your life, and just replayed that over and over and recorded it.
I did.
Back into a recorder.
Yeah. I still do it to this day. There's things if I start slipping or if I'm entering into a new arena, especially let's say the real estate arena. I mean, it's a big arena out there. There's a lot of money at play. I mean, just a lot of money. I mean,
so let me ask you a question because you're bringing up a really good point. So say your life is really good. For you, you're in the active process of changing a mindset in a way to be even bigger than you are already.
Right.
And so nothing about your life is bad. Nothing about your life is not necessarily not where you want to be. If you just coasted here, it'd be good. You'd be great. But you want even more. And so you're going to that next level. Yep. So what is that like?
Well, again, in my opinion, it's the habit. It's the choice. We've made a mindset. At least, okay. So before we even had kids, I mean, I've set this plan up in my life a long time ago. And just like Madison said, I don't have a bad life. I don't have a bad self-image. I don't have a bad view of myself. I'm in great health. Our family life is good. Relationship with my kids are good. I have great friends, great spouse. I mean, we live in a nice home. Money's not, I mean, we're not struggling financially. I mean, spiritually speaking, I'm in a great place at a church I love. There's just, I mean, I my business partner is awesome. I mean, it's just there are a lot of good things, but I'm just not content with this is all that God has for me. I believe that there's more. And so I believe in our motto. So we had set up, I just always believe that we can be a little bit better than where we are today. And is this it? Is this as good as it gets? If I just say yes, and this is as good as it gets, it will, I mean, my life will continue to be good. It won't be bad. I could just, cut back on some of the things. But see this thing here called Legacy Builders? That's what I'm about. I'm trying to build legacy for her and Michael and Riley and the grandkids that I don't even see yet. I'm trying to build legacy, and I'm trying to inspire you to build legacy. So in order to do that, I have to continue to be a little bit better. I can sit back and coast and say, Madison, life is good. Let me tell you what I did. Go do the same thing. What's more important is Madison sees me struggle. Madison sees me overcome. She sees me deal with the challenges of life. She sees me deal with the challenges of people and how mean they can be, and be like, oh, no worries. Let's just move on. This is how we're going to treat people with love. We sat down and we created a family motto. Motivated, MADE. We came up with a whole acronym. We did a whole episode, shared with you what all of our acronyms are. Motivated. We're motivated to be the best that we can be. We believe that we can be a little bit better than our best. That's a mindset that I have created. So since I've learned and applied these principles of changing my mind, changing my routines, making the tweaks like Madison just said, making improvements, I'm going down a good path. Why would I want to stop? Why would I just want to pull over and park? Mm-hmm. Isn't this what people want to get to? Where life is good and things are working? Why stop what's in motion that's working? You know how hard it is to push that ball up the hill, to get it to start rolling down the hill a little bit? When we finally have some good momentum, why would we want to stop? So you just keep doing the things that are working, doing the things that are working. We're starting to invest some over here, starting to invest some over there, just doing little things. Why stop? So I just keep repeating over and over and over the things I start. Oh, I see myself over here building houses. Well, I built some houses. Now I got to change that. I need to build more houses. Well, now we're building more houses. Oh, I need a subdivision. Now we're getting a subdivision. This is just one example in real estate. And guess what's coming next? Apartment complexes are coming next. Commercial real estate's coming next. Yeah. I already see them. They're already coming. It's just, I also believe, this is, I didn't really want to tap into this, but I also believe that when you take these steps, I believe that, I don't know, the laws of attraction, if you want to call it, I don't know what to call it. The laws of fate. Things just start opening up. Doors open up supernaturally. I believe we'll talk about that in our spiritual series. But favor just happens. Does that mean everything is going perfect and well and I have no challenges in my life? No, that is not what this means. We are just now able to roll over these challenges quicker. Speed bumps, it's just a bump in the road now. It's not something that crashes the car and causes months delay. Will there be those things? There might be. I'll deal with them when they happen. But it doesn't mean that I have no challenges in my life. It doesn't mean I have no problems or no struggles in my life. That's not what that means. It just means that I'm not listening to those things. Mm-hmm. I'm not listening to those distractions. When things come up, okay, we'll deal with that. Moving on. I'm not going to worry about it. Do I still lose sleep? Yeah, I lose sleep at night. When you're into real estate, there's a lot of things that could come up that cause you to lose sleep. 100%. There's problems that come up. So yeah, I lose sleep at night, but then I get up and I have to recalibrate my brain and nope, listen to my tape, read my confession sheet or my sheet that I've made up, visualize myself
So
That's
it's
the
something
problem.
that you have to constantly keep going back to. And I mean, keep revisiting even after you've made the plan. Like for
Yeah,
the house example, you don't just look at the blueprints once
right.
and say that we're good. You have to look at it over and over and over again, because
Yep,
then you need to know how to communicate it to the vendor, and you need to know how to communicate and make sure you're solid in your plan and stuff like that.
that's
So,
right.
um,
And I don't look at my blueprints every day.
also, yeah,
So this isn't, I'm not talking about this as a daily thing, but once you set things in motion, they're in motion.
right.
Like,
I would say at the beginning that if you make it a daily thing, that's a great way to build momentum. Or
100%.
say that you're stopped and you need to build that momentum again. Like looking at that daily or revisiting the things that you have already done, revisiting like the things like that you have overcome, that you have accomplished. I feel like that's a good way to get momentum moving again.
100%. And if this is your first time doing something like that, yeah, it's going to take a little, it's going to feel a little weird. It's going to feel awkward. Like, man, nobody's doing this. You're right. Nobody's doing this. But you know who's not helping you? Everybody.
That's a great point.
I mean, who's helping you where you're at? Who's really helping you? All these people around you that you're worried about what they're going to think about you, they're not helping you. Help yourself.
Mhm.
Just do something. Don't worry about, oh, this is weird. Yeah, it is weird. Be a little weird. We all want to be individuals until we're worried about being like everybody else. It's just so crazy to me. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
That's a. I'm going to ruin the quote, but that's why I just love one of my favorite quotes is that we're not afraid of failure. Our biggest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our biggest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. That's our biggest fear. And when we go out, being small doesn't serve the world. Being great serves the world. Being you serves the world. That's the biggest fear, is that we're actually powerful. Go out and be you. Be the powerful person that God created you to be. Even if you don't believe in God, go be the powerful person that you know in your heart is beyond where you're at. You know there's better. You know there's better for you. But why not? Because that's you don't know how powerful you can be. There's so much power right there sitting in watching this episode right now. There's so much power. Just go be you. That's what the world needs. The world doesn't need you sitting around with everybody else worrying about what everybody else is going to think.
Right.
The world needs people to be themselves.
Yeah.
Just go out and be you.
So as we're coming to a close, I think on this episode, I know we probably have some more thoughts that we'll talk about in the next episode, but I think we're reaching time. So to wrap up, let's just kind of wrap up on what we did talk about. So like the plan, you want to make a plan, have a vision. And even listening to you, for me, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be worried about how detailed I'm getting in my plan. Maybe that's okay because blueprints take time. And so I'm like, okay, I mean, am I still acting? Yeah. But maybe I shouldn't be so worried about how much time I am spending on making sure this plan is a good one. So make a plan. You can do that. There's Pinterest boards you can make. There's um, pictures online that you can get, like look up and print out and put on a vision board. You can write it down in a journal. You can type it out. You can record it like you did. There's a lot of different ways to plan. Is there anything you have to add?
Can I just, so as you were talking about that, one other
Yeah.
thing came up to my head that I think is important to address in the planning, because I hear you say you spend a lot of time making on these details and tweaking your plan before action is taken. I said, look, there's also, we talked about fear, and this is also a fear, but there's also this perfectionism where, look, you get to the point where like, oh, this plan is perfect. Oh, wait, I can tweak this. If you can tweak the perfect plan that you just made perfect and tweak it, you can tweak it again and again and again. Nothing is going to be perfect before you start it. Nothing. Get that mindset, switch that mindset. You're not looking for the perfect plan. If you start your travel to New York, is it going to take you on the perfect path to New York? No, it's not going to take you on the perfect path. You're not looking for perfection before you start. What you're looking for is to get out of the rut. Get to where you're not looking back. Get to where you starting something in motion. You can sit in your car, no gas, car turned off, making a plan. You're going nowhere still. Just get the plan and start doing something. Am I saying just don't have anything in order? No, get some things in order, but don't focus on a perfect plan. It's not going to happen. Just focus on doing something, getting to the point where you can start acting and start making some motion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I look at it too. I'm like, we just watched the movie King Richard, right? And he made this incredibly excessive plan for his girls and their tennis career.
Well, all of his girls, not just to remember
those were his half daughters, or that's not what they're called. What is it called?
Okay.
But it was mainly the plan for Venus and
Serena.
Okay,
I got you.
Because those were his full blood daughters. But yes, they did have plans for the other girls, but he didn't do an excessive 300-page or whatever it was plan. But then he stuck to that for a lot of their life. And so I don't know how long he took to create this plan, but I would say that you probably need to take, some time to really focus on what the end destination is. When you say New York, that's a very broad destination. Where in New York do you want to go? Stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's a good point. You definitely need to spend time on your plan and start, visualizing your plan. Point is it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
That's my whole point.
I get that.
We never touched on the perfectionism excuse.
Yeah. No, I get that. What else do we talk about? What other takeaways before we wrap up?
I would just say, look, guys, you can change your mind. You can be whoever you want to be. You can go wherever you want to go. Nothing's holding you back except for you. We gave you a path. We gave you examples, ways that you could just start moving this, creating your blueprint for your life. And just got to do it. Just got to do it. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully that you got something out of this, and send us a message, text us, email us, post on the bottom of the podcast if this has helped you and you've made some changes. We wouldn't keep doing this if we didn't believe we're making an impact. We know we're making an impact. We hear testimonies of people, and so it encourages us to keep on delivering stuff like this. And we just believe that there's more testimonies out there, and you're going to be a better you, so you can make a bigger difference in the world and in the world around you, which is the ultimate goal. Go out and influence the people around you for good, and be a better version of you.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to, we're going to deliver a really good one next. I'm saving this last topic for next episode, so tune in next time on Legacy Builders. Thank you very much.
See ya.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today on the Legacy Builders podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you are notified when a new episode is posted. Now go out and take your first steps in building your family's legacy.